CFR Network back working hard again in the lab, local build, Bromtown. We here, Shalom Balance Paradise, Niha, all the universal greetings. You know how we do it. Got a special guest with me, sibling CJ, writer, director, creative, creator of the Black Pounds project. Am I fair in saying that?
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Welcome to the broadcast, sibling. What it do?
Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me, man. I feel honored to have been approached by yourself to chat about all things black, I guess, and see how we move forward.
Definite. Well, listen, many are called, but few answer. So I'm glad you were one of the people them who answer. You've got an excellent initiative and an idea which we want to unpack and paint a very vivid picture. But before we even get into that, pardon self, it's been a hella crazy year.
Yeah.
2020, zombie apocalypse. Unpack that, man. Like, how is that? How did all that affect you? What was the highs? What were the lows?
Yeah, so it was a crazy year. So I got married the end of I should know this, to be honest. End of 2019, I got married, and then so last year was my first year of marriage, and it was just like,
Congratulations, by the way, sibling.
thank you, I appreciate it. It was obviously you're on the high, you come back from your honeymoon, and then it's lockdown, and you're kind of like, well, what's gone on here? But we've learned to navigate as a couple, and I think it's made us stronger, and it's brought us closer together because we've had to learn things really quickly.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, where did you go for your honeymoon, if you don't mind me asking?
Went to Crete, for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so that was literally the first time we'd been away together as well. So it was a special time, and
Yeah.
we just kind of explored the Greek islands and just a lot of fun stuff.
See, it's before you continue, it seems like it's a terrible situation in regards to the zombie apocalypse and liberties taken and obviously loss of life, etc. But at the
Yeah.
same time, everything has kind of happened for yourself in regards to your one ship, your partnership. Um, it's happened for a purpose of sorts because first time you've gone on vacation together, and spent 2 weeks, now you're in a situation where we're in sort of martial law lockdown kind of thing, and you are forced to now again spend pretty much 24 hours. So you are learning each other's little quirks a little bit more, the idiosyncrasies, reinforcing the things that you really love about that person, that individual, that inner being.
Absolutely.
And those kind of things for some people, can take 3, 4, 5 years.
That's it.
You're sort of fast tracking this based upon the situation. So it's an excellent thing, sibling.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like you say, there's always challenges, but you have to learn to just overcome them. And like you say, it's really made things more intense, but in a good way. I'd say, we've learned a lot about each other. But aside from all that, I guess that's a positive spin to put on what was going on last year and to this point. But I like I say, my background is in the arts, so I used to run a lot of schools workshops, helping predominantly young men to kind of get engaged with the creative world and creative arts and writing. But so I was in a few schools, started a business called Sorrel Park Theatrical, where I was going around to different schools in the West Midlands and teaching creative writing, kind of taking the school curriculum, but putting a creative spin on it and trying to get kids engaged with it. And then, like I say, COVID happened, and then I had to look for other options. And then that's how the Black Pounds project was born,
Okay. So let's sort of stick to pre-COVID. How were the youth sort of receiving the option and the opportunity to be creative in a literary sense?
I'm a firm believer that everyone can write. I believe not everybody knows how to, hold a pen and get words down on paper, but everybody can write, because when I say write, I believe everything is first written in your mind.
Yes.
And a lot of young children, they know how to speak, what they want to write about. There's something about physically getting that pen in their hand and putting it on the paper that is a mental block. Maybe they think that it's going to be wrong, and it's going to be that, their peers may laugh at them, the teacher will mark them down, or whatever it is. But so I was very much going into the schools and saying, look, I'm going to remove all these tables, I'm going to remove all these biro pens and whatnot. We're going to get some Sharpie pens out,
Hmm.
and we're going to get some like large sheets of paper out, and like explore what writing really means. Don't worry about your handwriting, don't worry about all of that, because me, I when I grew up, I very much found it difficult to articulate my thoughts, as in, verbally, but I could
Okay.
always write them down.
Hmm.
But I know a lot of children are the opposite of that. So I try and think, okay, what was it about writing that I really enjoyed? And I think it was the fact that, um, you know, I didn't know how to articulate myself. So I think, like I say, thinking about it from the opposite perspective, okay, how do we get them to articulate themselves? And then we try and find a way that they enjoy actually writing it down. So that's how it all kind of came about. And I was in about 4 or 5 schools actually, and then the program was really starting to develop. And
Hmm.
hopefully we can get it running again. But it's just different times now, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, time willing,
Mm,
and gumption willing, obviously, it might be even something that you can utilize, obviously, maybe even technology,
yeah.
so do it over the airwaves, via a certain platform will remain anonymous at the moment.
That's it.
So yeah, no, that's excellent. That's excellent. And based upon that, clearly you have, and based upon my introduction, you've got a passion for writing, and you're a creative person.
Mm,
And touching on that experience of working within the schools, you've got a passion for breeding that within the youth as well.
yeah.
Where does that come from?
So, well, I'll touch on the other work that I do at the Birmingham Rep as well. So I'm a co-director of a theatre company called Lightpost Theatre, and that's about helping young Black men to build resilience and mental health strength through the creative arts. So that's also a role that I actually used to be a part of that company. I used to be involved in it as an actor, and then the opportunity came up to actually facilitate and be one of the leaders. So I applied for that just after lockdown, and was successful in getting the role. So I've written a play for that group, and it's supposed to be on the main house at the Birmingham Rep. It was supposed to be on last week actually, but it got
Yeah.
postponed. It's looking more like May, June.
Hmm.
But I can give you more details on that at a later stage.
Cool.
Um, in terms of my in terms of my background, um, I grew up on a council estate in Erdington, called the Lyndhurst. It's not there
Yeah,
anymore.
I know
It,
it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was always around people that were always quite boisterous, always quite energetic.
Hmm.
Um, but I think thankfully I had my mum and dad who really helped me to channel that into positive stuff. So whether it, my dad always said, if I don't care what you do, but you're doing something. So whether it was swimming, whether it was football, athletics, I was always, me and my brother were always like encouraged to do something practical.
Yes.
Uh, and I didn't necessarily find the arts until I was in primary school, actually. I think, yeah, like my later years in primary school.
Hmm.
Um, I remember there was a school show um, about World War II, and I felt like the assembly was boring, so I just kind of went in front of everyone and said, does anyone like Michael Jackson? And I just started dancing, and then my class teacher was like, "What the heck is this for?" What? she, she basically, everyone was laughing and saying how funny it was, and then I got back to the classroom, and my teacher just laid into me, and I thought, oh, she's gonna phone my parents and whatever. But she didn't actually phone my parents, and then I think a week later, there was another school show on Oliver Twist, and she casted me in one of the like comedy roles, and then that's when I think I found a place for my creative energy. And my parents came to see that play and so on and so forth, and they just thought, okay, we need to do something with this. So they just started to push me into all kinds of drama and theatre related activities, like National Youth Theatre, Youth Music Theatre, and stuff like that, and just helping to push me. And I don't think it was really, the aim wasn't for me to necessarily go into a theatre career.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? In this, our demographic don't really,
Yes.
not really on that.
Mm,
but
mm.
but
But I guess was it was to help form and shape the character and the person you are, i.e., socializing,
that's it.
performance, confidence.
Yeah. But remember, I mentioned, I couldn't really articulate myself that well, so I had ideas but didn't know how to speak about them. So
So
I think
even through that time, you were still having problems articulating yourself at that point.
yeah, yeah.
Ah.
Like I couldn't read. I couldn't really read very well. I wasn't very, literate in that sense, but I could write quite well. So the two didn't really match up.
Mhm.
So I think putting me into the arts and stuff like that was really to help me be able to to have a voice and
Yes.
stuff to bring that out of myself.
Mm. That's, as you say, it can be that polar opposite where, as you say, you're not a good speaker,
Mm.
but you can put stuff down on paper, whereas people can write, that's boring, or
Yeah.
my spelling, or the way I write. And I mean, when I was at school, I remember ah, trying to. I think this was at primary school,
Mm.
and we were taught. I can't remember what the term is, but you either do it the old school way, which is block letters, or you do joint up writing.
Yeah.
And at that stage, I was trying to find my style of how I wrote. So I was doing all sorts of curly stuff and all kinds of stuff, and I finally got to a point where I was like, I like the look of that, and that began my writing style. But little did I know the teachers didn't like it. My
Yeah.
my family were like, "What? Yeah, why are you writing like that for?" Kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 That's it. That's it. And
But
it's crazy. And I'm just touching on that. As a writer now, like industry professional, you realize none of that stuff really matters. Like, as long as your thoughts are down on paper and it's readable,
mhm,
it doesn't really matter what it looks like in terms of the calligraphy of it. It doesn't really matter, and that's the
mhm,
whole point that I really try to get across to some of these teachers. It's like, yes, it's important, and if a child's clearly exhibiting the ability to do it in that way, then yes, push it and make sure they're getting it, as neat as it could possibly be. But if there's just a child there that's not really, it's just not, they've got great ideas, but you know, why not just focus more on their ideas as opposed to getting it to look that certain perfect
mm,
way? Do you know what I mean? What's makes more sense?
yes. Rather than, as you say, trying to put them, well, conformitize them in
That's
essence.
it. That's it.
Um, Utilize the gifts that they have, and try and
Mm.
amplify those. And I mean, I'm not saying to totally like shun. Okay, well, if it's totally illegible handwriting, no, no, no. It needs to be legible, of course. We
Yeah.
need to get that to a par. But it may not be the prettiest stuff as long as you can read it and they can put that down. That is the most important thing. Through life, they may get better, or they should be getting better, because everything is trial and error and progression, and practice, which will make you proficient, never ever make you perfect. But it's through repetition and practice do we gain these additional skills.
That's it. Most things are digital now, anyway. Yeah.
Fortunately and unfortunately, it's good for speed and ease, and
Mm.
saving the trees, which is kind of a rhyme.
Yeah.
But it's how regularly, and this is a question to you and to the listeners, how regularly do you put pen to paper and actually write stuff down?
Pen to paper.
Yeah,
Well, me, it's every single day.
good.
Because yeah, I my wife always tells me, why are you doing the job twice, man? Just type it up while you're speaking to people or whatever when you're in your meetings. Why are you writing it on paper? But that's just how my mind works. Like I see typing it up as like the final product,
Yes.
I guess.
Hmm.
But like if I even when I'm writing a full length play, it's all written. I have it all written out, you know, with my scribbles and my arrows to where things are supposed to be and whatnot. Nobody would be able to. If
Decipher
anybody,
it.
yeah, no chance. It looks a mess, but I know exactly what I'm saying, and that's what I try to. And when I go into the schools and I talk about the the plays that I've written. I've had 3 plays produced in London, and mm, yeah, this is my first one in Birmingham. But whenever I've written a play, it's always written down, and I do show the kids. Like I said, look, you wouldn't be able to read any of this; it wouldn't make any sense to you, but it
Mhm.
makes sense to me, you know. And so most important thing is getting your ideas down, knowing how to get them down in a way that works for you, and then find a way that works for everyone, which is usually the digital.
Totally, totally. And because people are like the millennials and the generation, whatever we're on now, they're so used to getting the tablet, the phone, and it's all a digital thing. They
Mm,
don't understand, or they haven't had the opportunity to get the pleasure out of putting pen to paper,
mhm.
seeing the finished, making those corrections, drawing those arrows around, drawing those little ands in the middle to make the sentence make sense again, or the of or the commas. You knew how we do it. Um, that is art.
Yeah,
That is visual art.
absolutely.
Um, that builds your repertoire.
Mm,
Again, flashback to when I was younger. I don't know what the experience was, but for some reason, I chose to learn a new word from the dictionary every day.
mm,
I don't know what something happens where I think I said that. I think that's what it was. I think I might have said something to a teacher because growing up, I was around a lot of old folk,
mm.
not many people my age. So the conversations and the words I heard and the context that they were used, I could kind of, okay, that word means that because they said it in this kind of way. So I was kind of piecing together a bigger vocabulary for, a youngster. So
Yeah.
I would then try and regurgitate some of this. And I think at one point I said a word and I thought it meant something and I was sharply corrected. So I said, okay, you're going to make a fool of me? That's fine. Well, two can play at that game. So then I said, religiously every day, we're going to go through the dictionary and we're not going to just go like A through to Z and just pick, go through it methodically. I'm
Yeah.
picking out interesting words. I'm then going to the thesaurus and, trying to play about, okay, rather than using a standard word, how
Mm,
can I use a long word which is more exploratory or
yeah.
explanatory?
Yeah.
Um, and from that point, my world was opened up.
Mm,
It was really opened up to not only wanting to read books then, because as a youngster, read a book with no pictures in it.
yeah.
Well, what am I doing that for?
It's true.
Gave
True.
me a thirst for English
Mm,
language, English literature.
that's it. That's it. It's all about those little things, I think I tried to do something similar. My thing was if I because when I went to London, I did my masters at City University of London, And this was kind of when I was really just starting out in terms of, I mean, I'm still quite early in my career, but you know, I was around people that were probably far more educated than me and a lot older and wiser than I was. So,
Yes.
you know, they use words that you just probably would never have heard, or would you never use in that context. And I used to just write down the words that they said
Hmm.
and just start researching. So every like lecture or whatever, if I heard a word that I've just never heard before, I just always write it down and just think, oh, how could I use that to
Mm.
better myself? Because education is power, as we say. Knowledge is power, so you got to keep learning.
Communication rules the nation and the
Mm,
nations, and communication is one of the keys to success.
that's it.
I feel what's the best word? I feel disappointed sometimes when I'm in public and I'm shopping, for instance,
Mm,
and I see people who look just like us, young
mm.
black males, and it's almost like it's a caveman talking to, like, you know, grunts and points, and
Mm.
it's like, what are we doing here? You can't even like go into a store and articulate yourself and come across like a decent human being. They haven't done anything to anybody. They're just doing their job, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's. I think I was having this conversation the other day with someone. I can't remember who it was, but it's just like even some of the podcasts and stuff that come out now. It's like there's a certain um there's a certain way that people in which people speak, and I think that's almost like supposed to authenticate your
Oh
blackness.
no.
You know what I mean? As
Yes.
because I know certain people that are educated. Because I remember I went to school with them, and I knew they you know, they weren't in the bottom sets; they're in top sets. But they're still, whenever it comes to like a podcast or something, there's a certain
Mm,
that like they dumb themselves down, and I think we don't need to do that.
no.
You know, I'm not saying I'm the most intelligent person or the spokesperson for Black people, but you know, when I'm in certain meetings, and I'd say, you know, we're going to go into Black Past Project in a minute, but
Hmm.
the reason it's been able to get to the place it's got to is not because I'm selling myself. It's because I'm just speaking to people how I've been raised to speak.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, speak to people with manners and respect, and you know, share and articulate your views, but it can be done in a way that's articulate. You know, and then people will start to respect what you're saying a little bit more.
hmm.
Um, and that's I guess that's a slightly different topic, but yeah, it's just something I've identified quite a lot recently.
It makes you credible because
Mm,
let's put it out there. Pardon self. Unfortunately, people um, prejudge and they have prejudices.
mm,
So again, keeping it within the region we are, two black males,
mm,
people of other nations will see us, and based upon media, based upon films, etc., etc., unless you wear a certain uniform, so if you're dressed in a suit and tie, you are
mm.
clearly going to be non-threatening.
Yeah.
If you are dressed in a tracksuit and a hoodie, for instance,
Mm,
you're going to be seen as, well, is he an athlete or is he a hoodlum or a tog, as we say, right? So it's and then so you've got that, and the saying also, don't judge a book by its cover, but unfortunately people do all the time.
mm.
So you've got that prejudging taking place, and then if you're grunting and moaning and shouting at people and not articulating yourself, that
Yeah.
further that just reestablishes the fact that we're on that, these people are all the bloody same.
That's it. That's it.
Time and
And
a place. If
yeah,
we're around certain people, obviously, you're gonna potentially talk a little bit of slang. You get
mm,
me,
that's it.
blood, whatever. I personally don't use that kind of verbiage, but
Yeah. Mm,
I use slang at times, but it's appropriate times.
yeah.
Choose the time where you would use that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this it ties into the wider education ecology, doesn't it? Because it's about saying, look, we're not saying that you have to change who you are to your core. If you're from, like I say, if I'm around, like you just mentioned, if you're around certain people or you're around your family or whatever, you're gonna use certain lingo that you wouldn't that you know personally speaking, I wouldn't use the same lingo if I'm in if I'm deep in an arts council meeting or
Yes.
do you know what I mean? Because one, they're not going to understand the terminology, so either they'll just ignore it and think that I'm being, not taking the meeting seriously, or they'll ask me what it is, and then we're constantly going back and forth because I'm using terminology they don't understand. At the same time, there's a wider issue there because they may be used. I've been in meetings where people from other ethnic backgrounds, namely white British people, have just started swearing in meetings, and I'm thinking,
Oh,
hold on,
yeah.
how come they can do that? But if I was to try and drop that, people would be looking at me like, what's going on? So that's why we're saying this. The system is ultimately there's corruption there, and there's issues there, but we have to try and help ourselves and get to a place where we can start to identify these things and challenge them. Um, that's my kind of sense on that.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. It makes perfect sense because, as you say, you're in a meeting. You've got to conduct yourself in a professional manner.
That's it.
It's plain and simple. If you're in a meeting with all black folk, you conduct yourself in a professional manner.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been in meetings with black folk, and some black folk aren't, conducting themselves in a professional manner. They think, oh, it's because we all look the same. We can take the levels down. We can take the veneer off, the professional veneer, and we can just talk patwa and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, no, we're in a business setting. Once the business is concluded, we can let our hair down. I ain't got none to let down, but we can metaphorically let our hair down. We can talk the talk. Because we've done the business.
I agree. And that's it. And it's about when we are in those spaces, we need to have. I feel with me, it's about accountability. I believe everybody needs accountability, and there needs to be high expectations of us. When we lower the bar for ourselves, how can we expect others to have a high expectation of us? And I guess this whole black excellence thing, it depends what perspective we're coming from with it, because I believe black excellence is about doing what we should be doing anyway, and then the excellence part comes in when you're going above and beyond what you should be doing anyway. Do you know what I mean? So if I go to a Caribbean restaurant, I mean, I don't like to always talk about Caribbean restaurants, but this is just the one that everybody knows.
The prime example, so go true, CJ.
You go to a Caribbean restaurant. Prime example, what happened to me the other day, I was coming home from, I think I was coming home from the gym. This was pre-lockdown. Coming home from the gym, and I thought, let me just go grab a rice and peas or something, and parked up, opened the door. First thing the man said was to me, you're not coming with no mask. I said, oh, okay, well, so what now then? Like, I haven't got my mask, and I get it. You don't want people in your shop about the mask, but you know, if you're serious about your custom, you'd provide a box of masks by the door.
Exactly.
Because you've just lost a customer now. Because I'm thinking, you know what? Let me just go home and go and Uber Eats or whatever and go to the next one. But it's little things like that, and of course, he's got so far because he's obviously put his paperwork together to get the shop up and running. So we've got that far, but then it's when we're actually in there and our operational skills, I just believe there needs to be more education and training in that, and kind of, I went back to them and I told them about the Black Pounds project and so on and so forth, and I spoke about that instance, and kind of understood where I was coming from. But then he was like, it's not his fault because you know, he's been told that he can't let people in the shop without a mask. So I'm like, but it doesn't come across like that to the customer, because all I hear is you're not coming in.
Mm.
And
so was that a teaching moment of sorts at that point? Was it a case of, well, you know what, you're right, you know, we should, if we're saying that you can't come in without a mask, we should behind the counter or at the door say, you know what, yes, here's a mask.
That's it. But do you know what it is? And this is why I love the Black Pounds Project, because I'm the type of person, I love my community. Do you know what I mean? I don't always agree with everything that everybody says, and we shouldn't. I believe we should all have our own opinions, and the Black experience is varied for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all have our own journeys that we need to go on independently, but also as a collective. There are shared things. But I believe, you know, I love the project because it's about saying, okay, I've identified that, but here's people that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a bit confused about certain things, here's a collective body, an organization that's there for you, fully funded, to support your needs. So that's but that requires a degree of accountability. You can't be
Yes.
saying you're gonna meet somebody and then you don't turn up to the meeting, because that's like the way the project goes is that you sign an agreement beforehand, and if you don't adhere to the rules and regulations or the terms, then you're out, because we're here to support you as long as you're willing to be accountable. And I think that's one thing I think is so different about this project, because a lot of the times, you know, during the time when the project came about, when George Floyd died, there were so many initiatives coming out left, right, and center. Black Lives Matter, Black Support Network, all of these different initiatives, and you know, great, because it's raising awareness. But you know, this project, for me, this project was about, okay, let's not just try and run off the hype. Let's actually just sit quietly in the background and get everything sorted. I mean, let's get the policies, let's get the GDPR, let's get everything that's required to create a sustainable project. Because as soon as the hype is gone, and as soon as the media have stopped pushing us and pushing our agenda, we'll see a lot of the energy will die. And I think it's slightly different this time. I think there is still energy there for us, but it's obviously not as high as it was. But these things, that's expected. But you know, what I wanted to make sure we did with the project was set everything up from the ground level to make sure that we're not just doing a fundraising campaign. Whilst that's going on, we've got to be getting the right people in the right spaces who can actually help businesses prosper. And you know, but yeah, so that's that.
Creating responsible business owners.
That's it.
That's the key word, responsible. And being a responsible business owner, you take accountability for your service, products, and indeed staff, if you indeed employ them.
That's it.
And what goes hand in hand with that, which unfortunately, pardon self, that's lacking. We'll keep it within the Black community, but this goes hand in hand with everybody. Customer service, it's lacking. In America, it's customer service heavy in every side of society. Everything is about customer service, everything. Whereas here, from an independent standpoint, that for me, you're an independent. If you provide excellent customer service, your prices might be a little bit higher. The experience of me coming to your establishment and getting excellent customer service and knowing that you're independent, that's a win-win for me.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, we did a survey, Our Customers Always Right. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes, I did, yes.
I think it came up like, I think 80% said, no, the customer's not always right. And yeah, obviously 20% said the customer is always right. Now I think people have, and this is why I love the project, because it's about education. Look, nobody's saying you have to be best friends with your customer, you know. Nobody is saying that customers can't just be nightmares and they're coming in to cause trouble.
Hmm.
Of course, that is the case. But if you're an independent retailer or if you've got a small business and you've sold your product to that customer and they're unhappy, you've got to do everything you can to make them happy. Of course, there are times when it's just not going to happen, but you've got to do all you can. The reason being is because they could leave a review that's just horrendous, and then that's gonna affect the rest of your custom, you know. So no, the customer is not always right in the sense of they're not always a nice person or they're not always the people that you want to buy your stuff,
Hmm.
but they're always gonna win because you're the one who's sensitive about your business because it's yours. They're always gonna win. That you can't out win them because they can go off and do what they want to do, but you are going to be left with that stain on your Google review page. And what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
going to report it to Google.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, that you highlight an excellent point there. Most people, product or especially service,
Mm.
you go into Google. I do it myself.
Yeah,
It's the most dominant platform in that respect. Good in some ways, terrible in other ways, but in no doubt, you type in the company name and you check, okay, that's where they're located, and you'll look across the thing. Okay, let's go to reviews.
yeah,
Okay, so they're 5-star reviews out of how many? Oh,
yeah,
only 2 people have reviewed them. I'm not too sure, so that
yeah.
plays a massive part. Also, on the back of that, on a local level, a non-technological level,
Mm.
you have a bad experience. So I go into DMB wines, and my man tries to skank me out of 50 pence or whatever, or tries to sell me some out of date, I don't know, juice or something. And I'm going back and forth with them, and they're saying blah blah blah. The first thing I want to do is if I go see my mom, my sister, my brethren, my sisters, yo, don't go to that store. Don't ever go
Yeah,
back to that store because he's just scandalous. He's trying to sell you out of date things. So that's the word of mouth. They will then go tell somebody that will tell somebody who or tell somebody.
that's it. And especially within the Black community,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? You cannot, because, and the reason I say that is because, and this is another thing, but Black people tend to create products, and this is just something that I've identified from the people that have applied for support. They create products that they want to sell to other Black people.
Oh yeah.
So
Mm,
you created a business, but your sole market is Black people.
very niche.
Our project is called the Black Pounds Project, but our sole market is not Black people. Our
Mm,
sole market is about inclusion. So therefore, we're looking for sponsors from larger organizations who understand why inclusion is important. So it's
yes.
your target market cannot just be one. Wow, this is my personal opinion. You should avoid having a target market of just one demographic, because if that demographic, because like we say, the Birmingham community is quite small, especially when we think about the Black community. So if you're just thinking about customers in Birmingham,
Mm.
and you have one, and someone has a bad experience of you, and you've said that the customer's not always right, you got no chance. No chance of growth or survival, really. um
And that ties in perfectly with business acumen.
yeah.
I I had a conversation. I'll leave the person nameless, but
Mm.
I was saying that not all people are cut out to be business owners.
Nah.
Some people have to actually work for the person who is strong mentally and has the business acumen to be the business owner, so he can then employ the person who doesn't have the necessary skills. And
That's
this
it.
person said to me, I understand what you're saying, but you're totally wrong. Everybody has a business, can run a business. And I'm
Mm.
like, well, in essence, you can train a dog to flipping run a business, theoretically, but are they really running a business? Like,
What did they mean by that? What did they mean by everybody can run a business?
they can give individuals the tools to give them success in running a business in a certain in any industry?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think, are we talking side hustle, unregistered?
No, 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 legitimate, all above board.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't either.
I think there's a lot of, and it's a misconception that many people have, that, you know, a lot of us see side hustles as businesses, you know, and they are to a certain extent, but I see a side hustle as something you're not too interested about scalability or growth. It's just about, let me get an additional, you know, side income that I can go on holiday or buy some trainers. Do you know what I mean? So I would say in that sense, you know, anyone can have can develop tools to create a side hustle. But in terms of a business that I guess you would like to then become your main source of income, I don't think everybody's cut out for that, and I don't think it would be fair to say that everybody should be able to do it, because then you know, you kind of, you start making people feel inadequate because they don't have the like you say, acumen to do it. Yeah, like, let people. Some people just need to breathe. Some people need just to be in a 9 to 5, do what they got to do, work for somebody, have that clarity. And the reason I can say that is because my wife, she's a teacher, and her, like, she works all the time at home on her marking books and whatnot, but she has absolutely no interest in facilitating her own time to run a business enterprise. Like, in fact, that's her worst nightmare. You know what I mean? To actually have to think, what, okay, I'm going to meet with so and so, and nothing might come of that, and I've got to try and set up my website, and you know, I've got to do some marketing, and so, like, it's overwhelming for lots of people. So for me personally, I think some people are just not entrepreneurial, and that's okay.
And let's look at it at this level as well. If everybody was a quote unquote boss, who are we selling to? Like, and who is delivering the stuff, and, like, you know what I mean, who's packing it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's I don't know. Like I said, I'd be interested to follow, to
unpack
have a
that in more
conversation.
detail.
Yeah, unpack that, because that's a bit of a, like, wild statement, to be honest. Um, it just seems like a bit of a wild statement. Everybody could be an entrepreneur. Everybody could run a business. I don't know. I just don't
Yeah.
think. I just don't think they can.
And then also, if we look at it this, so I'm the person who's been told, yeah, you know, you can do that t-shirt business, for instance, and you go and you get a loan, or you beg, borrow, and, you know, quote unquote steal to get, you know, maybe a couple grand together to get a machine and get all the inks and everything, and then you shut up within 6 months, because, as we know, most businesses fail within the first 12 months. So then he's like, oh man, and so he sells to some of the equipment and gets a little bit of money back, and then he jumps in and he starts doing, I don't know, a car wash or something like that.
Yeah.
8 months later, he realized the water rates are just crazy, astronomical. The wages aren't really adding up, and it's like, yeah, that one's done.
One of the I mean, just touching on from that, I guess this is relevant to that. There's a new thing that people keep doing, and I really strongly advise against it, which is setting up a CIC when you have no real, so community interest company, when you have no real idea about how you're going to generate income. So a community interest company is a form of, I guess it's a charitable
Charitable
organization.
trust kind of thing.
Yeah, but even charities, they have to think of models that are going to keep them self-sustaining.
Of course.
So a lot of people are setting up, you know, they have a passion for the community, whether it's a knife crime project, a youth empowerment project. So they go online and say, yes, I'm passionate about young people. I'm going to set up a CIC or a charitable organization to, you know, to get some grant funding from the government, and you know, be able to pay myself a salary to run this business. And that there's so, like, I spoke to a guy at the Black Country Growth Hub, and he said, 8 out of 10 businesses that approach him are a CIC structure, and they
Wow.
don't know how to get funding. The reality is, it is so difficult to get funding.
Hmm.
It is absolutely near enough impossible to. I don't want to say impossible, but it requires a lot of time and effort,
Hmm.
and also someone who understands how to fill out funding applications, and because every application is different, and
Yes.
there's actually people who get paid to be a grant funding writer.
Mm.
This is people's jobs and this is their livelihood. So part of the project is also about saying, look, there is certain information as a community we have been denied access to.
Yes.
So I because of the networks that I have, and the way I am in able to being able to kind of speak to a wide, range of people.
Hmm.
And I wasn't really interested in speaking to people that are kind of, you know, at the lower end of their hierarchical system. I just kind of went straight to the top and said, look, this is what we're trying to do as an organization. We believe we've been denied access to certain information, whether it be financial services, legal services, how to fill out applications and so on and so forth. As a community, we don't even really know where to get business support from.
Hmm.
So, you know,
Is
part
Business Link still going?
Business Link. I believe it's not going anymore.
Okay.
Don't think it's going anymore, but don't quote me on that. But I don't think it is. Just based on a conversation I had the other day, I don't think it is. Um,
Because
but
that was the only thing when I was coming up. That was the only thing I knew of that you could go to and
yeah,
get any kind of knowledge from, and it was pitiful. The information, honestly,
yeah,
it was silly. It was a waste. The time frame. Basically, you wasted a whole day going there because
it's
you
crazy.
left with more questions than you had when you first came.
Exactly. So now it's the what they call the local enterprise partnerships and the growth hubs. So every city will have a growth enterprise partnership, or a growth, or a growth hub. Um, so those are the places now where typically you're supposed to go and get your advice. But like I say, withheld information, and these are the conversations I'm having with these organisations. They're saying, "Oh, we've got support for the community. We're always looking to engage with Black business owners and minority ethnic business owners." But I'm saying, look, that's well and good. You can do as many mentorship schemes or workshop as you want, but nobody knows where you are or what you do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to let people know about you, but then how are you going to support us as well?
Hmm.
Do you get what I mean? So that's another thing. But yeah, a lot of people are setting up these community interest companies and not really understanding that you cannot, like, the only way really to secure funding is if they have identified that you can sustain your business without funding.
Yes.
And a lot, like, business owners don't seem to understand that. So yes, they've got a passion for the community, and yes, they want to help people, but maybe setting up a community interest company is not the right move, because you need a big team, you need a large team, you need people that can support you and do stuff for you whilst you're trying to promote your service. It's such a big task. Like, we're a CIC, Black Pounds Project, but the only reason I registered it as such was because I had an advisory board, I had a team. You know what I mean? That came on board
Hmm.
to educate me on the certain things that I needed to be educated on, because otherwise I would be in a similar situation. Um, but yeah, I just think people need to be careful about what they're registering as. If it's like you mentioned, a minute ago, if you're passionate about the community and you want to help people, go and find an organization that already exists.
Yeah.
See what roles are available. Like, get involved with it that way. You don't always need to be a business owner and set up your own thing. Like, we need to start thinking cohesively as a community as well.
And also getting the experience, understanding, understanding, and overstanding what the process
Mhm.
involves, what the pitfalls are, how long it takes. Are you going to enjoy it? Is it something that you can
Mhm.
actually do for 3 years, 5 years, whatever the period is? Get in at the grassroots level, get into a company, as you say, get the contacts, create the bonds, build that network. And if you feel it so inclines,
Yeah.
spread your wings and
Yeah.
create something that might support that business which you grew into, you sort of started into.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not about, and a lot of my videos on my page, you know, sometimes I just have to put it bluntly, because I'm not trying to squander anyone's dreams. Do you know what I mean? I'm in the arts, for goodness sake. Like, there's no real business for a black man to be doing playwriting, and wow, that's that's what they would have you believe, because they
Yeah.
don't really put us in that light. But I'm here to kind of tell people, look, if you want something and you have the talent to back it up, just go for it.
Hmm.
But if you don't have, maybe it's not for you. And like, speak to your peers, speak to people that are going to be truthful with you. Like, don't just surround yourself with people that are going to tell you everything's brilliant. Like, I like my brother and my dad, everyone, they just tell me straight, like, nah, that wasn't it,
Mm.
that one was good. Oh, nah, that wasn't it. Like, and even my wife's just very honest. I have a lot of honest people around me, not people that are gonna just tell me, yeah, CJ, keep doing that. But
And
where are you when you need your support? They're not there.
yes, good points. And there is a very thin line with your support circle um being honest with you and say, yeah, that's not the right. But as I say, having the balance to say, yeah, that one was good, sibling. I like that one. So there needs
Yeah,
to be the bad and the good. It needs to be
yeah,
reciprocated, kind of thing.
absolutely, absolutely. But then also be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Like, if you're doing something and nobody is on it, and if people are saying it, yeah, it's really good, would they pay for it?
Hmm.
If no one ain't willing to, if you're creating a product, let's say you're an artist and you're drawing pictures and everybody's saying how amazing you are, but nobody's dipping in their pocket to commission any of the work you're doing.
Mm.
Maybe just have a look at it and say, you know what, why is nobody commissioning my work? Because your family would be the first people, I believe, to commission something if they truly believe in it. And if
That's
they
where it
don't, they're not
initially,
doing it.
yes. But that's, as you say, but that's where it should initially start. Genuinely, an idea starts, you create a product or service or whatever it is, and
Mm,
first thing you do is you go to your immediate circle. Look what I've
yeah,
got. Look what I've created. I really like that. Could you make me one, or could you draw me
that's
one?
it.
And then
That's it.
from there, it's like, okay, and you start to refine it, and you refine it. They tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a sister and to tell a brethren, and
That's
then
it.
from there, I'm gonna turn this into a business. This is viable. This is, I can do this.
That's it. That's it. You use your loved ones. They'll be your, I mean, there are loved ones like your parents or your aunties or whatever that they'll just pay for it because they're like, I want to support. But if you can get people that are still loved ones, but maybe not as giving willingly, if you can get them to invest in what you're doing, and then people just slightly out of that. So it's constantly building that, framework. So it's going to the ones who will just do it anyway because they love you, and then it's going to the ones who love you but they wouldn't just dip in their pocket freely,
Mm,
and then it's going to the ones just outside of that, because if your product is good enough, people will just, they'll be drawn to it.
it stands for itself, doesn't it?
It does. If they're and it goes by as well, like, if they're inspired by what you do, they'll they'll invest in it, you
Mhm.
know. um there was a lot riding on Black Pound's project because people had invested in it.
Mm.
Why? Because they invested in me as a person. So then I had to back up everything that I was saying I was gonna do and make sure it got delivered because people had invested in it. So, that was the product, and this is the service now that we can provide.
And
I was the
ultimately,
product. Yeah,
word is bond.
that's it.
And in business and in life, but most importantly, when we're talking business and money, which
Mm,
facilitates life, your
yeah.
word has to be your bond.
Mm,
You can't be on this flim flam stuff, this floppy flippy, ooh, coulda, woulda, shoulda. No, 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 no.
mm,
And all this verbal talk, it's all
yeah,
gravy, but get it in writing.
that's it.
email this stuff, get it confirmed, get confirmation emails. Even if you want to do the WhatsApp game, do not do things on a handshake, because unfortunately, people aren't honorable these days, sibling, as
Nah,
you're fully aware of.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. You know, and just tying it back to that, like everybody wants to go for the silo approach. Like, where's the unity? There's so many initiatives that are so similar, but where's the collaboration? And you know, I've been pointed to in the direction of many organizations. Um, I know that we were approached by a couple of people signposted us to Black Pound Day,
Hmm.
for Black Pound Day Limited, because I know there was an initiative around that anyway. Because I remember reading something on it, and they were going to do like a Black Pound, literally a Black Pound Day,
Yeah.
which was about. I don't know who came up with that, but I remember it was like, this is gonna be Black Pound Day, and like nobody spend anywhere else, just spend on this particular day. And then
Hey,
I
and
think,
sibling, I'll just hold that thought for 1 minute, because when
mm.
that first came out, I thought that is an excellent idea, but one day, that's ridiculous. What are we talking about? One day. This needs to be a flipping a daily thing, a weekly thing, a monthly thing.
That's it. That's it. I was thinking the exact same thing. I actually did a video on my Instagram saying, "Well, hold on, why don't I just give £10 to my local barber and just £10 to my local like Caribbean, you know, cash and carry? Like, why don't I just start doing them things? Why don't people just start doing them things instead of saying, yo, let me go to Tesco? Like, let's just do that. Do you get what I mean? I didn't, I thought, yeah, okay, cool, let's start the conversation about it. But as you say, it's got to be more. It's got to be a mindset,
Yeah.
you know. So,
And from a business owner standpoint, okay, so I'm pretty sure, as per unfortunately the modern day lynching of George Floyd, Rising Paradise, that all took place, and then there was a big media push, and been seeing all melanated people on the television for advertisements and stuff, and all this kind of stuff. Which strangely, we were thinking, hold up, we're in lockdown. When did they record all these advertisements to have all these brown people in there?
that's crazy.
It's interesting. But then, as a result of that, you've had a potential influx of people now frequenting the black stores to say, look, yeah, we need that unity. But
Mm,
in turn has the business owner done? Have they then seen an increase in their profits to then say, okay, I can now cut my prices down a little bit, even if it's 2 pence. So rather
mm,
than it's £1.50, I can sell it now for 148 or something like that. We're
mm,
not seeing that, because we need to sustain them, so then they have a spending power, they have a greater spending power. In my eyes, all of those people should be linking up as a conglomerate and
yep,
going to a cash and carry and say, we've got £50,000 a month that we're spending. What's the best rate you can give us as a collective?
absolutely, absolutely. And that's why the project was born, because this is a project. It cannot be a day, in my opinion. This is something that needs continuous thought. Like I say, I want to start small, work with the community of businesses that we have at present,
Hmm.
get them to the point of understanding, get them to be able to then go out to their networks and educate them on what needs to be done.
Hmm.
And then we can we can start to grow this. You know what I mean? Because I think what happened was there was so much momentum that we all got excited because we wanted to bring about change quickly.
Hmm.
So we started thinking about, okay, Black Pound Day. Okay, what is Black Pound Day? Okay, you got Black Pound Day Limited. All right, so that's one day in the first Saturday of every month. So my thing was, okay, cool, that's brilliant. Let me connect with them, let them know about what we're doing as a project. Um, we're working with businesses throughout the month to get them ready for that Black Pound Day, so
Hmm.
we can start to measure, make it measurable,
Mm.
show that we're able to deliver, get the government to understand what this is, and then we can actually start to see that change, at a micro level and then to a major level, and as you say, can bringing forward a conglomerate of businesses to go to local cash and carries and say, look, let's settle them prices a bit because we're coming in bulk. But like I said, there's so much silo approach that it becomes very difficult.
Do you think
It-
this comes? Do you think this comes down from genetic memory and the Willie Lynch thing, that we
mm,
just don't trust each other?
yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Well, I don't want to say think. I know it is.
Mm.
There is absolutely no reason why. Um, there's so many because, and it's also what does partnership. I think as a community we don't know what partnership is.
Mm.
Partnership is not about saying, I'm going to rain on your parade, I'm going to do what you're doing. It's about aligning yourselves with
Exactly.
organizations. It's about organizations that are doing similar work, but in a
Mhm.
different way.
Mm.
I'm not trying to be Black Pound Day. Black Pound's project's not trying to be Black Pound Day. It's not trying to be a directory.
Mm.
You know what I mean? What we're trying to do is help businesses develop themselves and grow so
Mhm.
that it can put more food on the table,
Mm.
so that can assess their prices, look at other businesses that are in different communities, see what they're doing well.
Mm.
To me, it just makes perfect sense. I don't, and that's why I say it's about the trust has been shattered. Um, so when we're talking about unity, unfortunately, the only thing we seem to identify is when somebody dies.
Unfortunate. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
We well, with the good work you're doing and others are doing, I think it's becoming, the awareness is there.
Yeah.
It's just the action needs to be done now. I think people now need to, as business owners, more than ever, especially with the zombie apocalypse going. A lot of people have been forced to, to close down. Especially in
Yeah.
the food industry and stuff,
Mm,
entertainment, live events, all them kind of things. It's crazy. So when you are able, and if you are able, we need to
mm.
be reevaluating everything. What are we gonna, how are we gonna maintain and ensure that we can keep these customers, keep them coming in?
Yeah, that's it.
Because we've got them coming in at the moment. How can we maintain them? We've got access potentially to £50,000 from the government. Are we gonna
Mm,
are we gonna go buy a new car with that, or are we gonna get some new shutters and nice up the shop and thing?
yeah, that's it. But and that's why I created this initiative, because we have the resource now through this project. As a community, we have the resource.
Hmm.
We have the people who can go into your shop and audit it and say, look, this is what you need. You're a 3-star hygiene. Okay, this is what you need to do, and
Hmm.
here's where you get the stuff from. And this is it. So I mean, it's that access to information that otherwise you wouldn't know where to really to go for it.
Mm.
So I'm constantly just building those connections, and my thing is about, because there's so many organizations out there that I say they're about supporting the community, but they start charging people like subscription fees
Mm.
to access the information and so on and so forth. I'm like, nah, it's not about that. Like my main focus is getting people the information that they should already have.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you can't be charging man a subscription for information that he should already have. That other, if you're like a white male growing up in Chelsea and your father's a millionaire, you've
Hmm.
already got that information. You already know the blueprint.
Hmm.
We've got none of that.
Give them free access to put them on at least a level playing field before you
That's it.
give them, before it's a chargeable sort of industry.
That's it. That's and if it is about charging people, that's more about time then. So if you want to have, say, a one-to-one with a financial expert, and you
Mhm.
want him to check in with you regularly, of course that's going to be a paid service. But if
Mm.
you want some very specific information and you've just got a question that needs answering, then yeah, come to the project.
Mhm.
Let's get you the answers so you can thrive. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy.
So let's say me as a established company,
Mm.
let's say I'm a retail outlet, and I'm doing okay. I could be doing better. Why should I come to you? What can
So
you do? Um, as an organization to help me?
As an organization, essentially the first 3 months is all about putting together, working with a business advisor to put together a 3-month action plan.
Hmm.
So what do you want to see out of your business? What needs to happen in order for you to grow? What barriers are you facing as a business owner? So that might not even be specific to being a black man. It could
Hmm.
be specific to literally your industry and the events that we're in. So you speak to your advisor, you get that 3-month action plan together. Then we partner you with a business coach who's actually got the networks and got the connections for people like yourself and can work in the industry like yourself, who may
Mm.
be experiencing similar barriers and they've overcome them. So if they've overcome it, that's the people you need to speak to, isn't it? Because they can give
Okay.
you the blueprint for how they overcame it.
Mm.
Then you get partnered with a mentor. Your mentor is literally there to check in with you and hold you, keyword, accountable to the action plan that you've put in place. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes.
then whilst you're doing this, you're working with the other people on the mentorship scheme. You know what I mean? So there might be other people that are sharing the same, some of the same barriers that you're facing, and you've got that network. You've got people to speak to about it
Hmm.
that have gone through the process that you've gone through to
Yes.
get onto the scheme.
They've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, touched and felt it, had the experience. Me as a stubborn business owner, though, I'm scared. I'm thinking, I'm like, look, I've been running this business now, okay, I've been I've been eking a living, as they say, I want to take it to the next step. All of this business plan, yeah, I've got to
Mm,
commit to it, like commitments, like.
mm.
I just want a little bit of help, man.
Yeah, but that's it. That's what the project is here to do.
Mm,
That's what we're here to do. Literally, that's why it was set up, because I identified that people don't always have someone to speak to about their business,
mm,
you know, because there's a lot of fear. And as you said, trust. People are scared that someone's going to try to teeth their idea, or, some people are just not always interested in hearing that. But if we've got dedicated people there who have a vested interest. They're not even all from the black community. Some are from the Asian community, some are from the white, some are white. So it's about saying, okay, what are those communities doing well?
mm-hmm.
How have they managed to do it? Let's tap into some of that, because that's the access that we're being denied, you know. So let's build a community and let's support each other. That's what the project's there for. There's no need to be afraid or anything. Business, there are going to be long things in there. There are going to be things that are a bit more boring than others, but once you get them down on paper, you
Hmm.
don't really have to touch it again.
Yeah, well, and I think putting it on paper, as we alluded to earlier in the build,
Yeah,
it sort of it's a rubber stamp. It's there.
yeah, yeah,
It's encapsulated. You've captured that moment, not just in your mind, but it's written down there.
yeah.
Because the mind is a wonderful thing, but it can play tricks on you after a period of time. Even if you've just gone to sleep and you thought, yeah, we had this conversation and blah 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 blah, and then you go back and look at what you was actually written. Oh, I forgot about that.
But
Wow.
remember as well what I mentioned about the work that I do in the schools. A lot of people, a lot of black business owners don't want to sit in front of a computer writing a business plan.
Mm,
But what they can do is talk about it.
mm.
They can talk about their businesses. So we've got people here who can ask the right questions to get that plan done without you having to necessarily be sitting at a computer typing it all up.
Excellent. That was going to be my next question about the business plans and stuff. Yes, yes, reviving. Okay. All right then.
You've
So,
got to focus on your business. Your main thing is getting your business where it needs to be. So the plan, if you can talk it, then you've got one.
mm, as you say, as a man thinketh, so it shall be. It starts from the mind
That's
first, and then you've got to put the plans in action. You've got to plan, plot, strategize, and then make that physically
mm,
manifest in this
that's
three-dimensional reality.
that's it.
And that shit isn't like that. It don't happen overnight.
But there's no other projects that I know of across the whole of the UK that you'll find like this. So people
It's a
should really look into it.
it's a holistic 365 support system and network, from what it sounds like,
You
with
should
some
see the excitement on people's faces when they see the panel of people when they go to the interview. And the interview isn't, it's not no like intense interview. It's just getting to know you and your business. But
it's a sit
people
down.
are excited. Yeah, it's just to sit. The people are excited to see that there's actually people that want them to thrive.
Mm.
There's no airs and graces. There's nothing that you have to worry about because we're here to support. That was the whole reason the business was created. You know, it's nothing. There's no like catch, and that's what we're scared of. Sometimes you think,
Yeah.
what's the catch? No catch, man.
It's that, it's the catch thing, and also it's also the fear of they're gonna want something, like, but why are they gonna give me this for nothing? Like, just
It's accountability. All we want from the business owners is accountability to say, if so and so turns up, remember you've been selected because we want to help you. And if you're not necessarily ready for the mentorship program, then there's the pre-startup support. So we want to help you. Remember, my background is in the arts. I have my day job. All these people involved in the project, they have their day jobs, they're financial, advisors, banking lawyers, so on and so forth. But like I say, they resonated with what I was trying to do, and they helped to craft this program. You know, collectively we crafted it because there's a need. People are worried and scared, and we're here.
and they want to see other businesses win. And I think
We
within,
wanna we wanna show the government that when you take an actual vested interest in people, amazing things can happen. When you actually address the need, people don't want to go online all the time and fill out long application forms to get some business support or have a conversation with someone.
yes,
Sometimes it's just a conversation they want to have, and actually someone to ask them the right questions so that it can get stuff moving forward.
and not just think, as you say, it's not just a tick box exercise. People have got a vested interest, and they want to help you. They want to see your business sort of succeed and become successful. Sibin, so why haven't I seen you linked up with any of like the Black Pound Day and nothing like that? The thing at the Legacy and all that.
Bro, I'm here. Them man know I'm here. That's all I'm gonna say. They know I'm here. They know we're here as an organization.
It sounds like a perfect fit, man.
You need to, so you guys, the community, need to reach out to them and say, look, enough for the silo approach. Let's connect. I can't do any more than I've done. I've emailed them. I've called them. People have CC'd me into emails with them. To say what we're doing. We're not trying to step on any toes. We just want to support the businesses that you're working with. That's it. I don't know why. I don't know why it is, but we haven't been able to collaborate. So when they're ready, maybe it's because of the name, maybe it's because we're called Black Pounds and it's Black Pound Day, and they think we're trying to do the same thing. But
that, yeah, I would see more of that as an affinity versus an opposite polarity. That's more of a selling point kind of thing. Like, it's almost one and the same of sorts, but a wider view. We've got the day and we've got
the project,
the holistic approach.
Bro, it's there. When they're ready, we're here.
So okay then, Stephen. So Pete, this year, man, it's the Gregorian year 2021. Trustfully, we're gonna make this here physically manifest. At least get y'all to sit down and see how it can work if possible, and what I mean, that needs to at least
do you know how it works? This is how it works. Black Pound Day, bring the businesses in. They say, do you need any support? They sign them over here. They want to set up for the market. They get ready for the legacy. We get them ready. and we keep it going. That's it. It's
Simple thing.
seamless. It's seamless.
Mm.
But then they've partnered with Google on stuff as well. So I don't know what they're doing there, and so
Okay.
there's different conversations going on. But
Mm. We
like I
are
said,
work panic, man. We are work panic.
that's it, man. But
So,
I'm excited to just keep working and
listen, I see nothing but success and trustfully business owners, taking the opportunity to grasp the experience so they can grow, as business owners and as a business, and to be
yeah,
ultimately profitable.
that's it.
That's
That's it.
that's that's what it's all about. It's not just about this just existing kind of thing. We want to be able to have one or two, well, not just one, we want 2, 3, or 4 establishments maybe.
Mm,
That's the
possible.
flex. Of course,
Mm.
definitely. So, what is the best way for everybody to get hold of you? Social media, website, for all that information out, sibling.
Yeah, so if you want to get me by email, that's cj@blackpoundsproject.com. cj@blackpoundsproject.com. If you want to find me on social media, my personal account is CJ Lloyd Webley. The Black Pounds Project Instagram is blackpounds.org. Twitter is blackpounds.org. We're on LinkedIn, the Black Pounds Project, and also Facebook is the same, the Black Pounds Project. The website is www.blackpoundsproject.org. We're running a monthly challenge at the moment. I don't know if you got a message about that, but it's a
Yeah, yeah.
small business challenge. So what it is basically, if you sign up to the challenge, you get an email every day with a different challenge on it. So it might be something like find a small business that has the letter C in its name, screenshot the business, send it to us, and if you get the most points by the end of the month, then there's prizes and awards, cash prizes as well. So that's something people can check out on the website.
That sounds fun. That does. Definitely,
Yeah,
and it gets people thinking in it, looking for these businesses and stuff. So, and also in the process of doing that, they might be looking, oh, I need to find, and then they stumble across a business that
that's it.
they want to utilize, etc. So look, I like the idea. I like the idea. I understand. As soon as I saw it, I thought, I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah, man, we gotta be creative.
Definitely, man. Definitely. CJ, it's been an excellent build. I will make sure I'll put a link to the website and all the social medias below. Make sure you check out the website. Definitely jump onto the Instagram with some insightful videos which are posted on there, some excellent content.
Yeah.
And if you are a business, get involved. Check it out. There's nothing to lose. There's everything to gain, ultimately.
Mm,
Oh, very last question before you go, sir.
mm.
2 last questions. Have you had fun today?
Yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Definitely um think that people should do these sorts of things more often. It lets you like get your thoughts across. And yeah, it's nice jogging down memory lane as well.
Definite, definite. Get the synapses and neurons firing and all them things there. Um, Also, very last one. Tell me your name, CJ, but don't tell me your name. So tell me who you are, but don't tell me your name.
Okay. I am am I overthinking this?
No, no,
I'm
no.
a I'm a creative who cares about inclusion and coming together as a community.
Hmm.
I want to inspire the world through my art and also by being me. Yeah.
Like it. I like it. I like it. As some people they think, where are you going with that question? But I like it. You understood it. You understood it and you overstood it.
Mm.
We got it. As I said, check out the information and get involved. Everybody, definitely get involved.